Happy Halloween, everyone. With everything going sideways this year and the release dates getting increasingly reshuffled, that also includes the sequels to the excellent 2018 Halloween reboot. So while I wait for those to release, I thought I would do some reorganization of my own by looking at the last time they tried to take only the original two films as canon. So let's open up the oddly titled 1988 sequel, Halloween H20, 20 years later. Despite the title, this film doesn't take place underwater, but rather it opens on Langdon, Illinois on October 29th, 1998. The home area and chambers, played by Nancy Stevens, is broken into. The five Laurie Strode is taken over office. Stabber Michael Myers, who has already killed Jimmy Howell, played by Prefect Joseph Gordon-Levitt, before Myers kills her too. The next day, it turns out Laurie, played again by Jamie Lee Curtis, living under the alias Carrie Tate in Summer Glen, California, alongside her son John, played by Josh Hartnett. To think some people thought he'd be the next big thing. Other casts in this crew include Curtis' real-life mother Janet Leigh as Norma Watson. The music was done by both John Altman and Marco Beltrami, who will go on to become much more prolific in later decades. It's Halloween, everyone's planning to opt out of the class trip to Yosemite to have a party instead. Elsewhere, at a rest stop in Northern California, a young woman and her daughter are carjacked by Michael. Something very familiar about this. So, John stays a party in the basement with his flame Molly, played by Michelle Williams, his classmate Charlie, played by Adam Ham Bird, and Charlie's lover Sarah, played by Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. The way Ronnie Jones played LL Cool J lets them out tells me they have more than just us playing Quakers Before All Night planned. All things considered, this film's actually one of the better sequels in the series, and during a deal with Counselor Will, played by Adam Arkin, Laurie lets him know who she really is. That's one way to tell this movie was made in 1998. It's what is much harder to cover up in the post-social media age. John and Charlie are spotted by Laurie in town, and after a fight, they're taken back to campus where John and Molly are getting ready for the party that night before afternoon classes start. I don't really get the private school dynamic. I think I was going as an MIB agent, and because of the movie and the cartoon being big hits. Though Laurie reverses course on Yosemite, John still decides to go through with the party anyway. Nora meets up with Laurie, saying that she doesn't like seeing her like this. Also, unless my eyes are playing tricks on me again, is that the same car from Psycho? They got the same lead actress who's also lead's mother and the same car too? How did I not notice this before, especially given how much this film has been in rotation since I was a teenager? To be fair, this movie is actually pretty close in style and tone to the original two films. Steve Myers does a good job of creating atmosphere in the setting. The script does have a surprising dose of dark comedy, not quite the same level as the 2018 film, but better than many other sequels. Still not doing the Rob Zombie remakes, I'm not that desperate. Well checks in on Molly and Sarah's line about her evening plans are rather awkward now, especially given Mrs. Tribio is currently serving 23 years in prison. Before that, he was just screwing Carpenter out of his royalties, making it so he wouldn't come back directly. Laurie opens up more to Will, saying her identity was what making Michael think she was dead, and she and Michael are sorts of siblings. Michael cuts the power and phone lines, then kills Charlie. Sarah tries to escape through the dumbwaiter, but injures her leg in the process, making her Michael's next victim. John may be able to find safety, but not when Michael stabs John's leg. Will is killed, and even though the school doesn't quite have the same impact as Laurie's own house, it works in a different way. To have the horror set in a remote location with no chance of escape, Laurie is nearly able to get John and Molly into a car, telling them to go get medics and the police as she goes to confront Michael. Before the reboot, this was another example of Laurie becoming Michael's opponent. Miss Donald Pleasance died in 1995, and by proxy his character Sam Loomis, and Tom Kane filling as his voiceover instead. Subsequent and chase through the school grounds leads to the two of them in a night fight, with Michael falling off a balcony on the school chapel. It's a Catholic school, with uniform and everything. Michael fell on his own blade, and Ronnie seemingly survived the attempt at his life, with new inspiration for his romance novel he was working on throughout the movie. Roy then takes a coroner's van with Michael's body up the mountains, launching him through the windshield and bailing out before he and the car are sent into a ravine. As Michael is pinned, Lloyd cuts off his head with a fire axe, ending the story for now. This film is admittedly one of the better Halloween follow-ups, getting decent reception at the time and since, making a respectable $55 million domestically and $65 million worldwide on a modest $17 million budget. I feel that warts and all, this film definitely has the right approach for follow-up in a modern context. Do less. Less is more. You don't need a convoluted mythos for this series, which played many other sequels and Rob Zombie remakes. All you need is a woman hardened by her experiences of that fateful Halloween 1978, and a man in a Shatner mask painted pure her white. Simply evil. Final rating 3 out of 4. I intend to cover the original Halloween in the future, Halloween 2 in the future as the new sequels when they do release, but next time I have something a bit more light and nostalgic in mind. Here we go! Other cast and crew in this film include Curtis' real-life mother Janet Leigh as Norma Wilson,